There's many people who are shy, who feel that they are not qualified to do big things and they don't know how they are going to get there. What do you have to say to that person?
Can you imagine if there was a house on fire and there was a baby inside the house, another small child that was helpless, and you are the only one that has this supernatural ability to save them? Would you even think that, oh, I'm shy, I don't have the ability, I don't know. Literally, people are going to die. We get caught up in ourselves, finding your purpose, being great, doing... It's really not about you. The investment that God has made in you, He would demand for it, and the kingdom of God would demand for it.
Flourish Ubanyi is a media creative, and she's the voice behind the Shining Light Show, a platform that has become known for meaningful, faith-rooted conversations that go beyond the surface. But what many people don't see is the process behind the platform, the stories and the different challenges that have made Flourish who she is, from being in media as a journalist to becoming the person that she is today, while still building something that carries life.
That anything you see that is not normal in operation in somebody's life is a grace. Even if the Bible does not say the grace for storytelling, but you can clearly see that the hand of God is at work in this person's life in this area. That is a grace. I had enough excuses to be like, let me just put it on break for now. But I knew that I was not meant to stop. You feel like you're in a place where you're not hearing God. Go back to the last thing He said. You have history with God, and it matters. You are good. There's no need trying to be like oh, Father, have mercy, help me. Let me start afresh. You can't start afresh. Do you know where we are coming from?
Hello? Yes, you're listening to the Easy Like Sunday Morning podcast. So I think I want to start from the beginning. Like, how was your childhood and how did you end up in media? Let's just start there.
So my childhood was actually very normal, but very good. I grew up in a very good Christian home. I'm the first of 5.
Wow.
Yes, I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
Aww.
And I'm the oldest. So yeah, I mean, I went to boarding school at 10. And I was in boarding school all through like secondary school, obviously, and then university. So my secondary school was very, very, very pivotal to like my entire life. It was a very good foundation for my life. It was in my secondary school that I, found Christ, or not that he found me, I found him, or we found each other, we met on a personal level. Somehow, I just knew that I was going to be somebody, I was going to be great. I don't know, I just knew. And my first like introduction to the whole media thing was, okay, I know that I'm going to be somebody that is great. But then I'm like extremely shy because I was very, very shy. I mean, a part of me is still shy, but after a while, you just learn to just mask it and move on. So, I was very, very, very shy.
Wow.
And I was like, I can't be shy. Like, I need to do something. So I joined the press club in my secondary school. And so I used to read news like every week. I think it was every week. I don't know, in front of my school. And we're a lot though. Like my set alone, we're 200 and something.
Whoa.
So the whole school were like over 1,000.
Yeah.
So I would go on stage, I would read. I know secondary school is brutal. Sometimes I would make like, pronounce something wrongly. Everybody just say, yay! Something like that. I can never forget the day that I pronounced the name of a footballer wrongly because I was reading sports. I don't even know why they gave me sports to read because I don't know anything about sports. So I mispronounced the person's name. All the boys, they are like, hey! Like, isn't it? I could not see where I was going again. When I wanted to leave this stage, I was fell. So that was very funny. But I feel like that was my first introduction to media. And then SS3, when it was time to like pick a course. By the way, when I entered SS1, I was put in science class. Yes, and then I stayed there for a while, because they say like, oh, if you're smart,
if you're smart in science,
all those kind of things. Yeah. But I just felt unrest. Like I felt like this was not where God wanted me to be. So I went to meet them that they should change me to arts class. Yeah.
The class for the dummies.
Well,
I was in arts class. So
okay, I mean. So they now changed me to arts class. And in my head, I just felt like, you know what? Junior secondary school, I was reading. I want something easy. I also felt it was easier, So I went to arts class. continued SS3. I then got to this point where I needed to choose a course. And I was praying, just seeking God's face and asking him what I was supposed to study. And then the day we were supposed to pick the course, somehow, like, mass communication it was just highlighted to me. I don't know, like, it was just like, I knew that that's what I was supposed to pick. So I chose. By the way, I've gone through so many sessions of, like, going through with my mom. Should you do accounting? Should you do law? But nothing just clicked. But once I saw that mass comm, I was like, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. So I chose mass comm. And then, by the way, when I was in school, I was so active in chaplaincy because I went to a Christian university. I was so active in chaplaincy. I was active in one of the very big ministries now, started it back in campus. So I was one of, like, the founding members. Very, very, I felt like ministry was what God wanted me to do. And back then we used to say that the degree is just paper. It's just paper, I just, once we are done, we'll go into ministry, start, oh my God. So I had no intentions of doing anything media, like, none. One day, somebody, the leader of this group I'm talking about that eventually became a church, is very big right now in Nigeria. He now, like, we're having a session, and this is actually the first time I'm sharing it publicly. And he was like, God is going to make you very big in media. Girl, like, this was one of those things that I purposely stored in my mind because I knew there was no way, like, that was going to happen. There was no way I was going to do any media, me. Like, then, when I used to see my classmates rushing to edit videos, I'm like, you people, I couldn't see the value in it. I did not have any desire for it. I just wanted to be a pastor and be in ministry and like, so I was like, this is going to be interesting. Somewhere in my mind also, I was like, this will be a test if this is a real man of God.
I know what you're talking about.
So I just studied, and I'm one of those people that I feel like they don't used to do word of knowledge for me.
Yeah.
Like, they will say, there's one person here, I never put my mind in because I know they will not call my case. So this was like one of the few times when somebody was like, this is what God is going to do. And it was so specific. So I kept it in my mind. My NYSC, I said I wasn't going to work it. I wanted to go to, like, a remote village and just be alone with God.
Wow.
That was what I wanted for the 1 year. I didn't want any distraction. I didn't want to be with my family. I didn't want to go anywhere where people knew me because I was popular in school. I just made up my mind that 1 year was going to be it. Like, I'm going to deepen my walk with God, just seek Him, be close to God and everything. So I did that. I was posted to Kogi State. I did not know, in fact, I didn't even know where is Kogi. I didn't even know where it was. When there, my mom took me to the camp. So after the camp, I came back to Lagos and I returned back for the service here. I didn't stay with any house, anything. I went to rent an apartment. So I was by myself for a year, reading, praying, fasting, everything. What I said I wanted to do. January comes along, January of 2015, and it was 21 days of prayer and fasting, beginning of the year. And I'm praying, I'm like, God, what do you want me to do? What's your plan for my life? Reading books. I was reading this book, Following God's Plan for Your Life by Kenneth Hagin, going for prayers every day. I was a copper now, nothing to do. Come back, I'll sleep, wake up, continue. So on one of those days, I slept. And by the way, at this point, I was already kind of warming up to the idea of going for my master's. But anyways, I had not made any decision. I didn't know what I was going to study. It's a lot of decisions. And if you're applying to schools in the US, there are so many schools. They will tell you need to do at least 100 applications. I was telling my husband a few days ago, I don't do my life like that. Like, I work with precision. I need to know where I'm going and go there. I don't need to be like, I need to apply here, do this. So anyways, like I said, I was just doing that prayer and fasting and seeking God. And then one day I slept. And it was as if I heard a voice. It's what Kenneth Hagin calls the inner voice. I think that's like maybe 1 or 2 times I've experienced it. It's almost like you hear a voice inside you, like a loud voice.
Yeah.
And I woke up. like the voice woke me up and I heard the school I should apply, the course I should apply for, everything.
Oh my gosh, I have goosebumps.
Yeah, so I heard that and I immediately went, checked my laptop, you know. That was already one of the schools I was considering. But keep in mind, I was considering like 5 different schools. So I knew exactly what I was going to do, like to the T. So I got up, took my laptop, and I started researching. Applications had already closed. So I called the school. And I don't even know what gave me that mind to call them, because normal Nigerian, you be like, oh, the applications have closed. I will apply next year. I called the school. And they were like, oh, yeah, please. They were begging me, oh, please, make sure you apply. We have a rolling application for, like, they've closed, but they will still consider my application. I should apply. Whoa. I was like, okay. So I had 2 weeks to prepare for GMAT. Is it GMAT or the other one? There are 2 exams, not GMAT. The other one, GRE, which, by the way, people take months to apply, to prepare, and weeks. I had coppers then that also went to see you, that they already knew they were going for master's, so they had been reading. I used to see them reading. I'm like, anyway, when I'm ready, I'll start. So I didn't even have any textbook, nothing. I had just 2 weeks. So immediately I called my dad. I was like, okay, I want to start considering Went back to Lagos. Thankfully, there was a GRE center close to my parents' house. So I registered, and they were like, you have just 2 weeks. How are you going to make it happen? Anyways, fast. Do you know that I met people there that had been there for like a year? People that graduated a year before me in CU. I met some of them there and all. Like, I was the only one that passed out of all of them.
Wow.
I was the only one that eventually went for my master's. Like, the rest of them, I don't know what happened. They had to go with other plans. So that was how I did it. I wrote the exam, submitted. In like less than a month from that encounter, I already had my admission. I'm telling you. So the day I was passing out of NYSC, I was resuming in my school in the I was already in the US. You know, I think whenever I reflect on my journey, I'm always reminded of how, like, when I was younger, I was always fascinated by this idea of yieldedness and being yielded to God's will. And, you know, when I hear stories of Catherine Kuhlman, you know, and I was so fascinated by it. So I used to always pray that, God, I'm like, yield myself to your will. And those points, you don't even know what you're saying. But I feel like these are the very things that, it's like God is setting you up to not disobey him, to not even think that you have a will, to be like, God, I'm not going to do this. You know, I remember one of those days in my secondary school when we were passing out of, we were preparing to graduate. And so, like I said, in my set we were like 200 and something. So our pastor, our chaplain, called us and he said that all of us, we were praying. It was like such an intense time of worship and prayer. And in that moment, he said all of us should kneel down. We all knelt down and we made a commitment to Jesus that we would never like leave God. We would never, no matter what we do, even if we leave him, like he will retrace our steps back. Wow. Every time I remember that, I'm like, God, how did I do this when I was 15? I was like, this is crazy. So obviously, I mean, it makes sense that because I've given him the permission, do whatever you want in my life, you know. So it will now look like it's serendipity, like, oh, I'm just by accident having all these things happen in my life. So when I resumed that first day, they were asking everybody, so why are you studying this? Why do you want to? And people were like, oh, by the way, I was the only African. I was not the only black person. I was the only African. I think we were just 2 black people, black females. So they were like, so why are you studying this course? So people were saying different things like, oh, I want to be a sports journalist. I want to be on national TV. I want to be this. I want to be this. But I now said that I want to have a Christian show. Because remember, in university, I had no desire to do media. But between the time of writing my GRE and actually going to the US, I was at home a lot. And I started watching TV and I was seeing Turning Point. I don't know if you know Turning Point. It's a Christian show. Isn't it literally my heart will be like burning, like, God, I want to do this one day. That was how like the desire to now actually do media came. I was like, God, I really want to do this. I want to do this one day, and at a point, I think I even wrote to them that I want to work for, I want to intern, whatever. I want to say clinic. Yeah. But like, yeah, I want to intern for them. After that year, I had no desire to do any anything. I just wanted to be a
what
journalist.
happened?
I don't know. I fell in love with journalism.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened? So I fell in love with journalism. I just wanted to be a journalist. I just wanted to tell stories, ask questions. I developed so many skills. Like when I was going for my master's, I did not even know how to put on a camera, what anything was. I had no interest in media. So when they were teaching all this, my mind was not there. I didn't know anything. So graduating from my master's, I now knew a lot. Like I had developed so many skills, how to film, edit, everything. I even learned how to create websites. Coming back, I knew I was going to come back to Nigeria before I even left. So when I came back,
though?
why did I know? So 2 reasons. Number 1 was that I just knew. I wouldn't say God told me, but in my heart, I just knew that I think that I didn't see myself beyond that master's period in the US. Secondly, my husband was in Nigeria.
I was going to ask how you met your husband, but I was like, I've never heard you talk about it, and I don't want to put you on spot to talk about something you may not be comfortable sharing
I'm
publicly.
very comfortable sharing.
Okay, all right.
Very comfortable. So my husband was in Nigeria, and we're already in a relationship. And I would say we're already cutting. I already knew that this was the person I wanted to marry. So, and back then, like, jackpot was not really a thing. It was shortly after that people now said, you go and you come back now, So more so I was in journalism. Nobody's going to put you on the air with a Nigerian accent in an American TV station. So there was already a ceiling that I could never break. Do you get? So I guess my options were limited. But anyways.
I feel sad. Because you're really good at this, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, so that was how I came back. Somewhere in my mind, I still wanted to have my own podcast. Every once in a while, the idea will pop up. I was already working as a journalist.
Can you share where you were working with us?
Yeah, so my first job was with CNN Africa. So, which again, isn't it? Like I said, my life just feels like it's full of so many, and she accidentally became. I didn't really apply for the job, but I reached out to. They were opening in Nigeria. My lecturer from uni in the US sent me the article. I was like, oh, Flourish, I think you'd be very, very good for it. Like, you should apply. So I just sent, America, it's not like Nigeria. Nigeria, the bosses will be like, how can you send me a message on Instagram? Write an application, write your CV. But I just sent her a message on Instagram, a DM. I was like, I wrote everything. I just came back. I'm looking for a place to intern, blah, blah, blah. So she was like, oh, nice. Come into the office. So we came in. By the way, my dream was to be on national TV, like TVC and channels. That was like my dream. I'm not joking.
Oh my days.
In fact, the owner maybe I shouldn't say this.
Yeah, okay, let's just.
I had promises that, don't worry, when she comes back, there's a job waiting. My friends in the US are even already rejoicing for me that, I've gotten a job. Came back to Nigeria, cricket, nothing. Even when I tried to apply to the other Nigerian stations, they did not take me. So sometimes when rejections happen, you don't understand that God has a bigger plan for you.
Yeah, I mean, PD said when he came on the show, when my plans are failing, God's plans are standing.
Yes.
So I feel like
that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. So so that was how I started working there. It was also very, very pivotal for me because that was where I learned to like writing. Because I didn't used to like writing before. Just give me a camera, give me but writing, it was quite short. It was 6 months maybe, but it was they just dipped me in the deep blue sea. How did they put it? In the depths of it. So I had to learn to write every day. And I had people that were really, really good reviewing my work, giving me feedback, which helps me to get better at it. And I realized I'm actually quite good at it, So, and before then, I used to say, I hate writing. But by the time I left, I was like, oh, it's actually not bad. So I was the one who actually decided to leave because I just had this burning desire again. Like, I'm a very passionate person. When I want to do something, I just go all out. So I had this vision, I wanted to do, back then, virtual reality looks like it was very promising. So I wanted to champion it in Nigeria, be one of the first people to do it and all of that. And I already had the skills because I used to go to a VR lab in my school then and learn. I took a course and everything. So, and then my dad was so gracious, he bought me a VR camera.
Wow.
So yeah, my dad has always been a very major supporter. He bought me my first camera, bought me my first virtual reality camera, even when he didn't know anything about it. So yeah, so that was what I used. I made documentaries in virtual reality. I also worked for the New York Times because they had a 1-year project where they were also experimenting with VR. So they were taking entries from all over the world. So I applied and then I became part of the team. So I was just sending them content from Nigeria. So yeah, that's my foray into media, mainstream media.
Yeah.
And then after that, I started working with DW. I worked there for 7 years. And
Wow.
yes. So I left. I started as an intern, or was it called intern? Something like that. The lowest level. And I was the head of West Africa by the time I left.
Wow. So, why did you leave though?
I left because God asked me to leave. It was that's a different story, but yeah. I left because I felt like God was, it was time to leave.
I can just see that scripture coming to life and you will hear a voice behind you saying, this is the way to go, walk here in it, whether to the left or to the right. And I love it so much because you are literally showing us and telling us that you can be led by God.
Yes.
It's not something that happens to special people because sometimes some people discount themselves from the leading of God. They are like, oh, that's only for pastors or bishops or special people with great destiny. I mean, you have a great destiny, but it's that people who look like you and I, ordinary people, everyday people, children, can be led by God in every single step that they choose to go. That thing you spoke about, the inner witness you had, hearing him twice very clearly, but also having him constrain you in certain times. The way you just know, okay, I'm going to go back to, Nigeria. The way you know, okay, this is my husband. The way you know, okay, let me just reach out to these people. The way you know, let me invite this other person, like you were saying before we started filming. All of those things they're the different ways that God leads us. And I think sometimes we're waiting for one supernatural thing. But one thing I've seen about God is that if we honor him in the little things, we will see him in the bigger things. So sometimes people are wanting to be led, okay, oh yeah, I'm praying now, which school should I go to? But it's like you've not even learned to hear God about your friendships. You've not even, and maybe you've heard him, but you're not obeying him. And the way God is, at least with me, is like if God talks to you once, twice, you don't listen. It's a wrap. He's not going to be like, hey, you know what? I'm not needed here. I'm just going to. And I feel that when we choose our way, it's one of the easiest ways of telling God, I don't need you.
Yeah.
And God is that person. He will just step back and be like, okay, when you need me, let me know. You know, he's merciful in the sense that he might still hedge us in from time to time, but there is nothing that can be compared to knowing that Flourish, this is the school they are supposed to go to. I mean, look at you saying that your lecturer was telling you, look at this opportunity. So it's different things that lead to different things. And I'm just in awe of how God has led you. And I just really honor the voice of God that has spoken over you. So now you know that man of God was a real man of God.
Ah, girl. I'm waiting for the day when I will tell him because I'm sure he has forgotten. I'll remind him.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Yeah.
You said God asked you to leave a job.
Yes.
Where you were flourishing. You were head of West Africa, probably getting a very good pay and everything. You were big in media at this point.
Yeah.
It's like God asked you to leave this job. The word of God has come to pass. You're doing so well, all of that. Now, did God tell you what you would do next? Or was it just like, all right, Flourish, thank you very much for your service. Leave this place now.
Okay, so to answer that question, I would say that first of all, let me explain that, when sometimes when you speak about God's leading and you say, God told me, I wouldn't say God told me. It's more like it was impressed on my heart, or I had the inclination or the leading. It's a leading.
Yes.
It's not necessarily,
Yes.
I don't know. There are people that maybe God tells them, my daughter, get up and go to this.
Yeah.
But for me, and for majority of people, most of the time, the way God will lead you is not going to be in words per se. It's, I remember this same mentor when I was in university, he was telling me that in the realm of the spirit, all your senses are one. So the way you describe what you hear is the same way you taste it and you see it and like your sight is just that you sense it. Let me just put it that way, right? I had planned that I was going to have a second child and when it was going to happen. So I just knew, again, like it was just a knowing in my heart that after this, having this child, I would just go on my maternity leave and then I won't come back. I'll just take it as like my exit. That was my plan. And then this is when I'm going to get pregnant. This is how it's going to happen. That was my plan. And I had the confirmation that that was what was supposed to happen. I don't know how to explain it. There's a way that you just know that this is how it's supposed to be, There's somebody that explained it that, each of us as humans are born with like an internal GPS. That the code or the direction of your destiny is inside you. But the closer you get to God, the more it is revealed and then you can now see it. Sometimes you just know that this is what I'm supposed to do.
That's true.
So I just knew that this was what I was supposed to do and I had made peace with it. More so I had shining light. So I was like, I have something else I'm going to do. I didn't know that, okay, God is going to say, go and do this other thing. In my head, it was just leave to focus on raising my children, my family, and then doing shining light. So that was in 2023, the February 14 general elections, 2023. I covered the elections, and then I was going to come back, get pregnant, and that was the plan. I got pregnant, but then I had issues with the pregnancy. And then that season kind of just lasted longer than I had planned or I had thought it would. And eventually the actual pregnancy now happened at the end of that year. Keep in mind, I had already planned that. By that time, I wouldn't even be in this company. So I was still there till the end of the year. And then, of course, I got pregnant, continued. During the 9 months, it was beautiful. I was walking throughout. I did so many things. Like I had supernatural strength. And as per my deal with God, let me put it that way, I knew I was meant to leave. So, in fact, I had already decided to leave. I had some money saved, I think. And then by the time I went on my maternity leave, started my maternity leave and all of that, I can't even remember why I decided to come back and just say, okay, let me just come back. Okay, I felt like things were not yet stable enough for me to leave, and then it won't be good for me to just leave like that. There's nobody to replace me. I've not done this. I'm not, you need to give them time as well. So I felt like, let me do it properly. Let me come back and then put the necessary things in place so that I can hand over properly. Now, within that time, I went to discuss this decision with my loved ones. I love you, mommy and daddy. All my family members. But, again, I had made up my mind.
Yeah.
Like, there is power in a made up mind. I had made up my mind that this is what I was going to do. I was just informing them that this is my plan. And then everybody said, are you sure? This one. And anybody that knows me knows that I am very strong-willed. Like, once I decide that this is what I'm going to do. So in my head, I was like, no matter what you guys say, I've already decided. There's nothing that's going to change it. But the me that went into that conversation was different from the me that came. By the time I came out, I was like, no, I think I can still manage. Because I had forgotten that my conviction to leave came from a spiritual place. It was not from logistics. Like, oh, I won't be able to handle it. How will I be traveling? I'll be a new mom. Because my job required me to travel a lot, you know. And having one child, it's easier than having two. So I just felt like those were the reasons that I was giving my family, like, oh, I won't be able to do it. I just feel like it's best I just do. Of course, they were like advising me that you can do it. Just get somebody to do this. I got into logic and I started contemplating, okay, I'll do this. You know, I made a few calls. In fact, but at that point, I just lost my peace. You know, so it became back and forth. Today, I'll be at peace with it. I think it can work. I think I can do it. The next day, I'm like, oh God, I don't think I can do it, you know. And that was the toughest time of my career, like toughest. Just because I did not obey what I knew I was supposed to do. I did not do what I knew I was supposed to do. And at that point, I did not know. I did not know that it was God. Like, if it was that God told me not to do this, then I'll say, God told me now. Do you get what I mean? Disobedience. But I didn't know that. I thought it was a decision that I was making. And so, I continued to struggle. Like, this was postpartum, having my child. And where I lived very close to this place, by the way, at that time. My parents were on the mainland. And I was alone here with my husband. I struggled so much, isn't it? Like, it was so hard. I remember one of those days, and I felt like God told me, shining light must not stop. Like, you must keep going. There was one particular day, I had an interview with a guest. In fact, that interview, that was when I interviewed J Booms. I think after the interview, I just told my husband, I'm not posting this. Like, I felt so vulnerable in that moment, like during the interview. So before that, I went to the bathroom and I was crying. I was just like, God, this is so hard. I am tired. Like, I don't want to do this, you know. I was just pouring out my heart and I felt like God was telling me, just keep going. Like, just keep going. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep going. So that was my encouragement in that season. And, you know, I continued with shining light. There were so many limitations because where we were even living, you remember where you came for the interview? That was where we were living before. But they needed to do some renovations in the building. So we had to move out. So we moved to another place and it was fully furnished already and all of that. So we had to keep our things somewhere else. So all my setup and everything for Shining Lights was not even there. I had enough excuses to be like, let me just like put it on break for now. But I knew that I was not meant to stop. So somehow we made it work. And that set is still one of my best till now. So beautiful, you know. So we made it work, continued in the midst of everything. And then one morning, that December, we even traveled, we went for vacation to Ghana with my family. And it was fun, but at the same time, it was not fun. Because I was just praying, God, what do you want me to do? Am I supposed to leave? Am I supposed to stay? You know, like you said, God has already told you what to do. And if you feel like you're in a place where you're not hearing God, go back to the last thing he said. You know. So I was like, God, am I supposed to leave? Am I supposed to stay? What do I do? How do I give me wisdom? How do I balance all this thing? My life, oh, it looks like it's a lot. So that was what I was doing throughout the vacation. Came back to Nigeria, you know, and continued praying. God is so merciful. God is so merciful. So I can't remember the month it was, but like beginning of maybe around February, March, I would say, when Billy Graham passed on. And somehow, I don't know how I stumbled on a message by Billy Graham. I've never listened to him before, you know. I say, Ezinne, I was preparing my son for school early time. No, it was before he woke up, just my private time, and I stumbled on that message. It was about, I think, 15 things you should never share with anyone, something like that. I was crying. I was just weeping. I was like, God, like I finally see where I missed it, you know. And the way he explained it, he was like, sometimes when God asks you to do something and you go and tell people that love you, they are trying to protect you.
Yes.
But they don't have the faith that you have because they are not the ones that receive the word.
Yeah.
So them protecting you is actually keeping you from doing the will of God. So that's like a summary of what had led me to that point of struggling and stress and all of that.
That's so true,
yeah.
because I remember, well, the way I even started all the things I'm doing was through a blog I had called Bible Diary. And I remember when I got the vision for Bible Diary, I shared it with my mom. And my mom, she loves me to the moon and back. So my mom was like, I don't think God will ever ask you to share, because God had told me that I should share the struggles I was having in my Christian journey publicly. My mom was like, God will never ask you to like expose yourself. Like, that's not God. You need to go back and pray. This thing, like, I'm even getting creeped out by this. Your God said, God said, God
Yeah.
said, And I remember that evening, we were watching a show on like TBN, and the pastor, for some strange reason, was like, a good leader never reveals their weaknesses to their followers. Like, but that was like, bam, bam, like, And I remember that time just feeling like, oh my goodness, did I really hear God? So what you're saying is so accurate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So after I listened to that message, I made up my mind that, okay, we are going to do this. So I think that same day, I reached out to my boss and I was like, I need to have a conversation. I was like, oh, really? By the way, my company was so supportive. Like, so supportive. They were like, why? They hired like 2 people to join the team just to help me, to support
Wow.
me. So understanding, always telling me, don't worry, me too, I know when I had little children, I know how it can be, and I'm not even a woman, But they just wanted to keep me there because they felt like I was the best person for the job.
You were
And
for the job.
and it would have been like a whole thing for them to start looking for somebody. Then would they start training the person again, So it just felt like we can't replace you, quote and unquote, which that's not true. My boss was like, oh, yeah, no problem. We would have the meeting. So we had the call and I told him, I've thought about this, Did I say I prayed about it? I can't remember, but, I think I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I think that what I told them was I need to like focus on my children and my family. I won't be able to do like what the job demands. And I think one of the most painful things for me in that season was that I couldn't deliver excellently on my job. Like, I couldn't, before 2003, before I got pregnant, I traveled that year, maybe I was on the plane like almost 20 times, just at the beginning of the year.
Whoa.
Like at the beginning of the year, not even the whole year. So I used to travel a lot, and traveling is like a main part because there are really no stories in Lagos. You have to travel, go to Mali, Burkina Faso, wherever, all this African, Ghana, And then being constrained, it was always breaking my heart that God, I just feel like I'm letting people down. I'm not able to do this well. And even if it's for that reason alone, I don't think I want to be known as that person that is not delivering at the level they should. And the reason is because there was no grace for it anymore. There was no grace for it. I was not where I was supposed to be, so there was no grace. So I told my boss, and I was like, okay, I respect your decision. I still remember he was so shocked. I did not expect this. I respect your decision. I totally understand. Like, nobody can fault you or blame you for, doing that. Europe, they are very, very family focused. Like, their work ethic is not like American that is very draconian and, cutthroat. Europe is very chill. Family comes first. They'll give you 1 year paternity leave.
Whoa.
You go on maternity leave for as long as you want. The government will pay you, So using that reason made sense to him. He was like, no problem. So when do you think? I have to give him like 3 months to properly, leave and then have them find somebody else that will replace me and all of that. This whole time I didn't tell my parents again. Before God, I didn't tell anybody. It was just me and my husband. Keep in mind, at this point, we're also looking for it was a big transition year for us. That was last year. We're also looking for a house, trying to move with little children, you know.
I really want to commend you. Honestly, just hearing your story, you can see like the evidence of someone who has a genuine walk with God. I feel that, this is not speaking to your experience, but there are a lot of people who maybe have had their parents not support them. And I've had so many DMs about it, like people saying, oh, God has asked me to do this, but my mom is saying this and that.
It's a very tough place to be.
It is. It is. And my answer will always remain the same, that God will never ask you to disrespect your parents. And whenever I say that, people always assume I've always had easy relationship with my parents, because they say, oh, but you don't understand. I'm like, I actually really understand, but I don't need to go into details. But, I believe that there's wisdom for every season. And I really like how you shared that. For every place that God had called you to, there was not only wisdom, there was grace.
Yes.
And that's another way that I know when his season is up. It's not that God doesn't want us to do hard things, but it's that even when you are doing hard things, there is an ease that comes with it. Yes. But the moment you just see that, it's like, oh my goodness, what the heck is going on? Usually means that season is coming to an end, and then usually God will start speaking to you about, And I think it also speaks to us as Christians, how we shouldn't go into anything like holding on to it with both hands and always be ready to let go at the moment's notice, because sometimes some places that God brings us into are just training grounds for where he's eventually going to send us to. So you had a fantastic job, head of West Africa. You could have been like up next, head of Africa, up next, globally. Like it could have been like you could have become ambitious, is what I'm saying. As opposed to getting to a place where you're always like, God, whatever you want, however you want, I'm ready. So I wanted to ask you, how did you first receive the vision for Shining Light? Because you said, you saw this turning point, you were inspired by it, but so many things have happened along the way. So what was it that made you say, you know what, I think it's time to bring this thing to life? What was it like booking your first guest? And I don't know if people know that you are the brains behind Shining Light. You are editing the videos, you are doing the thumbnails, you are titling the videos, of which I have a YouTube masterclass that I teach. Your titles are beautiful.
Really? Thank you.
Your titles are so good. Like sometimes I'm looking at your titles, I'm like,
coming from Ezinne.
No, you have very good titles.
That's
even for like your like shorts.
Yeah.
And I think it's the heart that you have. It's a heart that wants to reach people. And, so it's clear from the way you do everything that you do. Even how you edit it is so intriguing. And sometimes you're able to be saying, drop the video, when you're posting the things to your Instagram. So how did all of this start with Shining Light? How did you even get the vision, the name, like everything?
A lot of the things, the big things that you will do in your life, it may not always come from my daughter, go and do this. But by the time you start and you get into it and you realize that, this is actually a major, major thing, and you look back, you see that God has been leaving tokens and signs. Just that you never, all these things I said now about, I did my secondary school, I was in press club, These were things that I just remembered like this year or last year. I completely forgot I ever did those things. But, it's very important that you sit down with yourself and you reflect
on the journey
and let God help you connect the dots. Then you can make sense of it. Otherwise, it just seems like, I just woke up and it just happened. But it did not just happen. There has been like a journey, a track record, There was a major lesson I learned last year in that season, and that was that, you have history with God, and it matters. It matters. Like God reminded me so many things I did in secondary school. And it's like, you have history. You are good. There's no need trying to be like Father, have mercy, help me. Let me start afresh. You can't start afresh. Do you know where we are coming from? Do you understand? So just get up and move on to the next. I said all of that to say that the beginning is very, very far. If I want to start tracing it back to where it actually started from. But a more recent history or beginning would be during COVID, I had another channel, which was my channel that my husband and I, we just used to like share relationship stuff.
We need to find that channel. I hope you're not taking it down.
No, I'm not taking it down. I'm taking down a lot of the content. I've like unlisted them.
Yeah.
But we still plan to do it anyway. Just that we've not had the time. But we used to share a lot of things, and I don't know. I just realized that not everybody thinks like this. But I used to think everybody, like I'll be sitting in a message and I'm like, imagining myself interviewing Bishop Oyedepo. I've interviewed him a million times in my head.
I keep saying I'm so gassed. I can't wait for the day that's going to happen.
Know.
It will happen.
So like, when I see people, I'm like, what will it be like to have a conversation with this person? That's how my mind has always worked for a very long time. I just keep seeing myself like, what questions will I ask? How will the conversation be? You know, so I feel like it was natural to me. And I thank God that God did not make it seem so supernatural and give me a vision. And it's because I would have been scared. And I'll now be like, God, it has to be perfect. I have to be this. To me, I was just having fun and doing what came natural to me. And I had gotten to this place where I didn't care about views. I just wanted to. It's just like, I don't know if you have that. When you have like a creative idea and you just want to let it out and just do it. That was it for me. So even with the name just came to me. I didn't think about it. I didn't research it. I just knew that this is what it should be called. And so we actually recorded one episode. I recorded one episode with my husband in 2020 in our former house. So we recorded and it was really, really good. I posted it and all of that, but I still felt like that was not the form it was supposed to be. And then my husband also felt like I was the one supposed to do it, that it wasn't supposed to be me. And then I also got busy with work. COVID was over, went back to work, had a baby, different things. So life just kind of got in the way. And then a time came when everything aligned, when I had the right relationships. I leveraged and still leverage a lot of relationships for Shining Light. Yeah. You know, I had the right relationships, I had the right space, I had access to people that knew how to get equipment for me. You know, everything just aligned. Like, it was the right time to do it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. One particular day, I remember we're driving to church and I think we're listening to Mercy Chinwo. We're listening to music in the car. And I just had this strong sense that I had to do it. So that day I was like, I'm not going to like push this away anymore. I'm going to start. So I started writing down a list of people I would like to interview and all of that. And my husband was like, yes, you're going to do it. So I narrowed down the list to like, I think it was like, I can't remember how many people, but I started reaching out to people. And I think the first person I reached out to, I won't say his name, but he responded. I was like, hey, I don't even have a channel yet, because I knew that I wanted to start a brand new channel, you know. And this guy responded to me, like this person I look up, I'm like, hey, are you serious? He responded. And then another person, Morenike Moleyi, like, I always say thank you so much to her because she was the first person that told me yes. And I'm like, eh? She said yes. I was just like, oh my God. This person doesn't even know me. I have less than 2,000 followers on Instagram. Yeah. I have no channel. Yeah. And I think, again, it also goes to the fact that it was obvious from the beginning that God was always with me. Yeah. Because this is not everybody's case. Yes. And I've done projects in the past before. This is not always the case. It was very unique. Yes. So I was just having fun with it. Okay. So we called the people. We had the interview. I think we recorded like 4 or 5 episodes over a weekend, 2 days. So it was good. It was so good. In fact, at a point when I was speaking to Nosa, we even continued the conversation off camera. It was so deep. I was like, wow. I was so blessed, you know, and I did the interviews, those first set of interviews, and I just kept it on my laptop for months. I never did anything about it because, again, I had a job, so I was very busy. I didn't really have time to now actually get to edit it and all of that. So by towards the end of the year, November, one day my husband came to me and was like, babe, you are starting today.
Thank God for good husbands.
Thank God for good husbands, honestly. Thank God for good husbands. So he said, you must post that video today. I was like, oh, babe. Okay, let me just do it. So then I sat down, edited, did the first short, clip, posted it. Again, I had, at this point, I remember one of our friends came to visit me. I had 1,999 followers on Instagram. And I saw he wasn't following me. So I was begging him, please, just make it 2,000. How can I have 1,999? That's such a weird number. So he followed me. So that was why it's marked in my brain. So I posted it. The first clip, Ezinne, it got like over 40,000 views on Instagram. This is me that if I see 5,000 views, I'll be like, wow, it's going viral. So I saw 40,000, I was like, what? And that is just how it has been. Like,
Thank you, Jesus.
God has just been. And of course, you know, thank God for spiritual understanding. And sitting down with it and being like, this is not ordinary.
Yes.
This is not, let me just come and do this. Let me just... You know, and actually trying to ask God and be like, God, what are you doing? What's going on? Look back, also look at the testimonies. There was one particular testimony. The lady said she watched the interview. She was in Jos. I met her in Lake. She said she lives in Jos. She came for an event and she met me. She said that she was in her room, in her living room, watching the interview, and she felt like somebody gave her a hug. Physically felt like somebody gave her a hug and she was crying. And those are the kind of testimonies I hear. I'm like, it would be foolish of me to use like clear eye, like ordinary, just carnal, normal approach to approach it. Because clearly, this is like a real major spiritual assignment. It's like God just tricked me, if I put it that way, into it. Because he didn't make it seem like, oh, this is a mission, a ministry I'm giving you to heal the sick, raise the dead. It just seemed like something that, this will be fun. This will be nice. I will enjoy this. And thankfully, I am enjoying it. But now, of course, being more serious about it, more spiritual, very, very spiritual about it. I don't just, we were talking about it before this. I don't just like allow anybody on the show. I pray very well, like before I pick my guests. My approach to, because I've done media for so many years, so I know how it is done normally, but I don't do it the normal way. Do you get? I rely a lot on God. I rely a lot, even down to the editing. I like to say I think I'm a decent editor. There was one particular short clip I was editing. I can't explain it to you, and it's only recently I started to understand what this meant. Because one of the messages, one program I went for, Bishop Oyedepo was preaching, and he explained the scripture that there are diverse manifestations of the Spirit and diverse graces. That anything you see that is not normal in operation in somebody's life is a grace. Even if the Bible does not say the grace for storytelling, but you can clearly see that the hand of God is at work in this person's life in this area. That is a grace. And you can tap into it. You can pray for the grace, So I've seen it a lot. I saw it in my regular job, but now with Shining Light, it's a very, 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 very sacred and very spiritual work. Like I was saying, there was a day I was editing the video, and it was as if before I make an edit, I will see it. I don't know how to explain it. Like an operation of, will I say word of knowledge or word of wisdom or revelation? It was a revelation gift anyway.
Sometimes I want to film a video. My video that went viral, the first video, I saw it before I filmed it. Yes, and I just did what I saw.
I just wish people understood how spiritual these things are, because people are so carnal, people are so calculative. They are majoring on the minors. Like, we just now want to start doing trailers for Shining Light. We don't do trailers. We just post. If you see the videos, hi, my name is this. We're into the interview. Because number one, I don't even have time. I have 2 babies. No time to start saying, let me start picking out the best trailer. I'm just like, Lord, what's the most efficient way that the job will still get done? And then it now became like, it's a style. Like, okay, she doesn't even waste our time, just go straight into the interview. And now it's like, okay, it's cool, whatever.
I don't think you need a trailer.
I don't think well, yes, but now, okay, maybe I have the opportunity to be a little bit fancy. But I may not do it, I don't know. But so I was sitting down and I was seeing every edit, like even things that I did not know how to do. some of them I would have to go to YouTube and watch a tutorial on how to achieve this effect and all of that. And of course, that video went viral. That was like that was one of the interview, Chimamaka's interview, which, by the way, again, this is somebody that is not a celebrity, which is, anyways. Yeah, that was one of first interviews that really, really went like very, very viral.
It had millions of views.
The reels. So yeah, it's really working, like WRK, working with God is beautiful. It's very beautiful, and it's something that I feel like we should all do.
Yeah.
There's something that I've heard somebody say that as a nurse, you are God's hand, God's hands, extension of God's hands in the hospital. As a cleaner, you are God's hands cleaning. As whatever you are, like, we have to see ourselves as extension of God.
That's so good.
So I feel like I got that understanding very early. And even in my normal 9 to 5, if I'm stuck, I'll just start praying in the spirit and asking God, what do I do? I'll just see it. Like, I will just see what I'm supposed to do.
I love that.
So, yeah.
That is so good, because I think what you said is so true. A lot of people major on the minor.
Yes.
And sometimes we have two extremes. We either have people who are just hyper spiritual, who just believe that they may watch this and say, oh, well, the reason why I can't do it is because Flourish is getting it from God. Oh, well, like,
Yeah.
But it's like there's a background of knowledge apart from all your years of being in press club and having to overcome shyness and studying mass comm and going to get your master's. Like, there's this skill and then there's spirit.
Yes.
So it's marrying skill and spirit. It's not one. There's also some people who are like, okay, I need to go and learn the latest AI XYZ. It's also not that alone. It's marrying the two, skill and spirit.
The thing is, isn't it? You need to have that knowledge, body of knowledge, for you to have context for God to speak to you. Because imagine I didn't know how to edit at all. How will God tell me, do this cut like this, do this? So I already had the natural context. So, like, for me now, like, I'm starting a business with my husband. I listen to business podcasts. I listen to all these things. Not that I'm trying to take their advice, but I'm trying to create context.
Exactly.
So that when God wants to speak to me, he will just highlight. And I will know immediately, this is what I'm going to do. So, yeah, it's very important. Very, very important.
I even learned so much from you. Like, before I came on, your show, I used to do my stuff just one camera. I used to always feel like I'm just a girl. There can be a fine line between, like, incompetence and you are trying to be humble.
Yes.
Not even trying to be humble. I guess I don't estimate myself so much. So I'm just like,
it's not that
who do I think I am? Yes, it's not that deep. But when I came to film your show and I saw at the overhead softbox, the 3 cameras, I was like, what is really limiting me? So, sometimes there are people who think that, all these things cost money.
Yes.
And so they're thinking about it in terms of money. But the truth is that if God has really called you, just like you said, there might be relationships you can leverage.
Honestly.
People you can say, hey, can you help me with this? Hey, can I borrow this from you? Oh, and I always say this, if you are part of a local church, that is a good local church, I feel like 60% of your problems are solved. That's why whenever people come to meet me, my first question is, are you part of a local church? Because I feel like once you are there, you will have people who can help you if you are rooted and, planted. So I think just coming on your show, seeing the excellence, I felt like you were honoring God and you were honoring what he had said to you.
Yes.
And so I was like, why am I not honoring God in this same way? Why am I feeling like, just a girl? Okay, even if I'm just a girl, it's not just a God that is talking to me. It's the king of the universe. Like, I need to honor that. And so that was when I started, like, reimagining what the show can be. So I just want to thank you, because you might not even be aware of it, but your life is speaking volumes. God is using you so much. Scripture talks about how our lives are epistles. We also carry a fragrance that God uses to spread his message around the world. And I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
Flourish, for just being who you are, for doing the show, for the sacrifices you've made that nobody can see, that has led you to being this person. And even as you were talking, I was just saying that one day Flourish is going to have her own TV network. Could see you doing something like better together by TBN. Yeah.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
could just see it, and I'm like, God is
Amen.
going to take this very far, and
Amen.
I'm excited. I cannot wait. In any way I can help, I'm open and willing to help.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Oh, hi guys, Editing Ezinne here. Just wanted to pop in real quick to let you guys know that my YouTube Masterclass is back. In this class, we are going to be discussing how AI is changing the game, faceless YouTube channels, how to understand the YouTube algorithm, lighting, gear, sound, thumbnails, camera presence, video editing, and so much more. But this year is going to be very different. I'm going to be joined by the remarkable Ubanyi and the dynamic Temilade Salami. They're going to be handling very specific courses that are going to be taught in this masterclass. So make sure you run, not walk into the class, and I would love to see you in class. So there's something that you posted on your page talking about something you and your husband have started, but when I saw it, I was like, is this like a microfinance? Like, what exactly is going on? And then we're just talking about it and you were explaining it, and I was like, this is something I actually need. My husband and I literally spoke about this morning, saying like, oh, we need to, because unfortunately, many Nigerians are not the country has not put us in a place where we can be financially literate. Let me put it that way. Many people are just in survival mode,
Yes.
So, but if you're getting to a point where you're thinking seriously about your finances, you want to be able to do things, there are some conversations you start having.
Yes.
So can you tell us more about this amazing thing that you're building?
Okay, so the app is called Delight Finance. It's actually named after my daughter. Her name is Delight. And it's an app we created to solve that same problem in our own family, because we noticed that it was hard for us to, first of all, I'm a very big budgeter. Like, I always use my spreadsheet. I said it in that video. Like, I've had a spreadsheet for years. I've always used. But it's one thing to have a spreadsheet. It's another thing to actually stick to it.
How you explained it,
Yes.
was that you said like if you have 50,000 naira, you can enter the app and be like 5,000 naira is for tithes.
Yes.
You're paying your tithes. 10,000 is what I'm going to keep for data for the month. 5,000 naira is what I'm going to keep to give to other people. And so when you now want to buy data, you don't need to come and withdraw from the 50K. You just go to that 10K you've kept, and you get the money from there. And I was like,
you still have
like
to
labeling your money.
Yes, so you're labeling it and you're assigning it a job before you even start spending. Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited about it.
This has come as an answer.
Yes.
Thank you, Jesus. Because Baba and I were literally talking about it. We're just like, are we going to have to start opening bank accounts to be, separating?
Yes.
Yeah, so God is so good. Thank you so much. Thank you to you and your husband for creating Delight Finance.
Thank God.
Yeah, and everybody go and download it. Go to the App Store, go to your Google Play Store, download Delight Finance now.
Yes.
And start keeping track of all of your expenses, whether you're a student, whether you're a housewife, whether you're working 9 to 5, whether you are building, whatever. Automate your finances and take responsibility for your financial future. So before we wrap up, Flourish, I've had such a good time with you.
Thank you.
This has been such a wonderful interview. Do you have any last words for someone who is maybe watching this, who is just in awe of you? You said I used to be shy. There's many people who are shy, who feel that they are not qualified to do big things, What do you have to say to somebody who is watching this? They know they have that witness that they're supposed to do something, but it seems like there are so many hurdles and they don't know how they are going to get there. What do you have to say to that person?
I think that a lot of times we get caught up in ourselves and you think the world revolves around you. It's all about you, finding your purpose, being great, doing... It's really not about you. At the end of the day, it's about, especially if you're a believer, it's about what God wants to do in the kingdom. It's about the kingdom agenda. So you are a part of that kingdom agenda. And because it's not only about you, it means that if what God has said will happen in your life does not happen, it will not affect only you. There are a lot of people, I remember when we were in university, they used to tell us that there are a lot of people that are tied to your life, that are tied to your destiny. So in you fulfilling purpose, so many other people will fulfill purpose. So it cannot fail. Do you understand? Because if it fails, that means there are many things that will be affected. Yes, God always has many other plans, plan Bs, and sees and this and everything. But the investment that God has made in you, He would demand for it, and the kingdom of God would demand for it, and you need to, again, understand that it is not about you. I feel like that is where, for someone who is timid and shy and afraid to come out, that is where, that if you truly, truly understand that, it will change you. Because you understand that this thing that I want to share, if it's me naturally, Ezinne, my natural person, I would just want to be in my room. Not just in my house, in my room or my bed with myself. I don't want to be out there. I don't want to have like lights and camera. I was just thinking about it yesterday that if you ask me my deepest desire, I just want to be like a very, very fun, chill, relaxed mom and take care of my children and be with my husband. That's my desire. But it's not about me. Who cares what you want to do? It's not about me. All the investment that God has made in me, all the things that I've experienced in life that has led me to where I am now. Am I saying that all those things are just going to be wasted? Of course, there are people that decide that they don't want to do the will of God and they don't want to walk with Him, But if you're in that place where you truly want to walk with God and you want to be all that God has called you to be, one thing I would advise is that you just pray that God will give you the right vision, the right perspective to see things the way they really are. Can you imagine if there was a house on fire and there was a baby inside the house, another small child that was helpless, and then you are driving past and you are the only one that has this supernatural ability to save them. And you are just thinking, would you even think that, oh, I'm shy, I'm this, because you are still thinking about yourself. I'm this, I don't have the ability, I don't do. But literally, people are going to die. Do you understand? But once you take that lens off of yourself and you just realize that, that's why, even with my interviews, I don't talk very much because it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about the message that must go out. It's about the guest and the vessel that God wants to use at that particular point in time. Do you get? So I feel like many people need to stop being so self-conscious and being so self-centered, really. All this, oh God, I failed you. Oh God, Again, because you're thinking about yourself. God is like, I'm doing there's urgency. There are things to be done. I'm forgiving you. It's okay. Stand up, move on. Next. Do you understand? So I feel like that would be my word to somebody. Just ask God to give you the right lens, to give you the right perspective. Because again, a lot of times it comes through revelation. You can't walk yourself up into it. Like, God has to reveal it to you and show you. And for me, I feel like that has been one of my biggest revelations over the last few years, maybe 4 or 5 years, and it has really delivered me from a lot of things. A lot of self-centeredness, a lot of cowardice, a lot of people pleasing, because I used to have that a lot, that I want to try and please people. I don't want people to be angry with me. I always want, like, my relation. I don't like awkward situations. Let me tell you something that happened. Yesterday, I wanted to go and buy something, and then I had to tell my husband that please, he should help me send the woman in my house to go and buy, because I just felt someone like, this woman is older than me. I should not be sending her, but she's my staff. Do you get? So that's me, naturally speaking, because of my personality and all of that. And I cannot now let that limit what God wants to do. So yeah, God had to work on me and help me to see beyond myself, see beyond my flaws, see beyond my limits. If it was me of before, I won't be able to sit down and do the shining light interviews, because I'll be thinking, oh God, am I sitting well? Am I asking the right questions? I'll be replaying the questions over and over in my head. Did I say the right things? But to be honest, I'm not even thinking about myself at all. And that has freed me from so many other things. Do you get? So again, like I said, just pray to God for the right lens, the right perspective, and also for courage, really. The story of Joshua is one that really, really speaks to me. Like, I feel like he's my person. I really understand everything that God told him is for me. So we are like, on the same page. And a lot of times you see God, God telling him a number of times, be bold, be courageous. Because God knew that this was his personality. And God did not say, because you are not like Bishop Oyedepo, you are not like Moses, I will not use you. His personality, if you read the story, his personality was actually a gift. Because that is what, if you notice, all through the book of Joshua, the children of Israel, they will come and be like, Joshua, God said he will give us this. And Joshua will listen and he'll be like, God said you will do this. He will, like, they could negotiate with him. He was personable, he was human. I don't think they had that with Moses. And that was how he was able to take the land and take possession of all the lands that God has promised. Because of that, his personality, that in a way, when you look at it, is a weakness. But it can also be a strength that God can use. Do you understand? So keep working with God. Ask God to show you, give you the right lens, the right perspective, to see everything the right way. Because like I said, I said that, the way God, my natural wiring is that I'm not the upfront, violent, person. But I also know that in itself is a gift. It's not a weakness. Because, again, that's why people can trust me on the show. It's part of it. That's why people can trust that, this person, I feel like I can just share. I can just share things with her. So your personality, the things that you feel like are your weaknesses, you just need to see it the right way. Have the right perspective about those things, and also have the right perspective about God, about how the kingdom of God works, and about the things that he has put you on the earth to do, like your assignment and the things that are in your heart to do. I feel like that's like the best place to start, because before you go anywhere, you need to see well. And if you don't have the right perspective, the right vision, then you're going to make a mistake.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Flourish. I've really enjoyed having you on the show.
Thank you.
I've learned so much that has even been useful to me. And like I already told you, you inspire me. And I can't wait to see all of the great things that God is going to do with the Shining Light Show, Shining Light Studios, clock it.
Yes.
I cannot wait. I'm excited. And the day you finally interview Bishop David Oyedepo
Girl.
and Mama Faith, I am going to scream from the loudest rooftop and say I knew it was going to happen. So I'm very excited. I cannot wait. And I look forward to all that God will do. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with me and Flourish today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I certainly did. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to share with someone you know this will be a blessing to. Leave a comment down below letting us know which was your favorite part, what stood out most to you, and don't forget to follow Flourish everywhere you have social media. So whether that's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere, follow the Shining Light Show. Subscribe to it here on YouTube. I have been so blessed by the conversations that have come out of the Shining Light Show. Make sure you also download the Delight Finance app. Don't forget, because this is our money year. So we have to take our finances seriously. And yeah, I'll see you in the next episode.